Mickey Mouse the greatest horror icon ever? In this video, we're going to talk about the nightmare of what is public domain. You know, all those things you grew up loving as a child, cherishing, feeling comforted by? Well, apparently after a certain amount of years, it becomes a free-for-all and anyone can just take the IP and make a shitty slasher out of it. They did it with Winnie the Pooh, the Grinch, Mickey Mouse, or Steamboat Willie, or whoever the hell they're trying to mock in this movie. And they just take the things we love and they torment us with it in horror fashion. I mean, if they take our boy Arthur, we are fucked. So if you want to talk about the Mousetrap with me, come hang out. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Phantom of the Indie Review. I am your host, Steamboat Ratty. And yes, like I said, there is a Mickey Mouse horror slasher film. Could you believe it? If this was 5 years ago, I'd probably be like, nah, man, that could never happen. But after we've seen the avalanche of hot, juicy, dookie flood Hollywood lately, I'm genuinely not surprised. We are on the cusp of 4,000 subscribers by Halloween. It is October, the spooky month. I mean, this channel, all we do is talk about creepy stuff. But I got some stuff up my sleeves. For the remainder of the month, we about to make this ish pop off. So if you want to run away from a teleporting mouse with me, then come hang out, subscribe, and let's do this. The Mousetrap is a 2024 Canadian comedy horror movie, originally entitled Mickey's Mousetrap. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not too offended by this movie because yes, I did grow up in the 90s and in the 2000s, but I didn't really mess with Mickey like that. Like I like Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas or whatever. But I was more of like a little bear boy. I was more of a, hey, it's Franklin boy. So I'm not trying to be a hater, but Mickey Mouse is kind of like old school, you know what I'm saying? I mean, more power to you. Off the gates, this movie starts off with the biggest red flag. Well, okay, there's two red flags. The first one is if the movie's runtime is only 120 minutes, that's always the biggest red flag to me. I know that's technically a feature-length film, but from my experience, whenever I see a shorter end horror movie, it's usually dog dookie. I mean, this movie was 80 minutes, an hour and 20. That just ain't gonna cut it for me. We like movies around here that are at least an hour and a half to 2 hours long. But like I said, this movie starts off with the biggest cliche it possibly can. Other than the fact that they're rehashing harmless IPs from our childhood, they start off with the infamous Star Wars cutscene. Pretty much being like, hey guys, we really love Mickey Mouse and we wanted to make a movie about Mickey Mouse, but Disney were mad at us, but we're doing it anyways because we love it. Going into it, I assumed it was going to be somewhat comedic because it's a movie about Mickey Mouse, but just starting out the gates like that, first off, it's like you have legal quarrels, you ain't got to tell the whole world about it, and then also, dude, like, why the Star Wars thing? It's not funny, it's not creative, it hasn't been since Jay and Silent Bob did in 2000. And then watching this movie, it got me thinking also, I'm like, dude, this movie is such a half-ass cliche, and then I was like, yo, if I do another hateful movie review about a movie that's obviously bad, am I a hateful cliche? Because you know there's probably hundreds of reviews of this movie already doing the same format as me, so it's like, whoa, like who's pointing the fingers now? It's a moral conundrum. The movie is being narrated in the form of a detective-style interrogation. There's this girl inside of a cell, and they're like, well, if it isn't the lone survivor of the massacre. The entire structure of the movie is hindered off her conversation with the police as they keep showing cutscenes, which to me right off the gate is a faulty backbone to a movie because as the movie unfolds they contradict everything they're saying. Like, she is just one person relaying everything back to the detectives. They'll show chunks of the movie and go back to the interrogation questioning what she saw. They're like, well, how'd you see all that if you're just one person? And then clearly when we're watching the movie they're showing intimate personal conversations or scenes that where no one was in other than certain characters, and then she just has like this half-ass excuse the entire time. She's like so salty and like pessimistic. She's like, yeah, I know my friends got killed, but I'm telling you it was a giant mouse. The detectives are like, we want to believe you. It's like that good cop bad cop dynamic where they're trying to believe her, but she's like, I'm telling you that it was Mickey Mouse and that he really chopped up all my friends and I didn't do any of it. Which is fine. It just like caters to that new generation because that's exactly how teenage girls be. I'm not trying to be a hater. If you're a teenage girl watching this, I doubt you are. Like, get your shit together. The movie starts off with Alex and her friend and they're working. The shift is about to end, and then the manager comes out and he's like, hey girls, I know we're closing in like 4 minutes and it's like a weeknight, but we have a party of 8, y'all staying late, wanted that double pay or not? And if I've learned anything from horror movies, especially Graveyard Shift by Stephen King, you never work for double pay because you might not make it out. Alex is the main character, obviously. She's just indifferent, you know, she's pretty, she's kind, she's rational, and she just seems to be, you know, the main character of the movie right out the gates. The boss tells him, yo, you guys are staying late, and he goes to his office to have a nice little cocktail, and he's in his office looking around, and he has just giant Mickey Mouse masks on the wall. I don't know if because... It'd be one thing if they were ripping off like Chuck E. Cheese or like the theme of the Fun Haven was Mickey Mouse, but I didn't really get that. he just must have been an avid collector. He had an entire like shelving area display of Mickey Mouse stuff, Steamboat Willie, whatever you want to call him, I don't know. And he like makes a nice little gin and tonic, and he goes to his thing and he pulls out a little Steamboat Willie copy on a cassette on some film, and he just starts reeling up the tape to watch it. Like, oh man, I'm gonna get drunk in my office and watch Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's public domain now. We can show footage of Mickey Mouse in the movie. Not only can they use his likeness and his mask, but they can show footage of the cartoon. So that's another big old goose egg for it. It turns out that there wasn't really a party after all.
It was Alex's friends. It was Alex's
friends who rented out the place, and it's like, it's your birthday, and she's literally like, dude, my birthday's in 2 weeks, and they're like, but we wanted to have a birthday party for you. And right out the gates, we get the misfit ragtag group of the biggest cliches: the jock, the nerd, the promiscuous ones. Like, I say this in almost every slasher movie I review, and it's fine, but then the biggest downfall for me is until the movie starts to pick up the horror references. It's like, do you not know in horror movies you never split up? It's like, everyone knows it, dude. Like, stop telling us it's not funny. People don't say that in real life. When I'm smoking a bowl out back of a graveyard with my friend, he's like, I gotta piss. I'm not saying, hey, don't split up, it's a horror movie. I'm saying, don't piss on my car, dude. Thank you. Apparently, the boss man who's drinking his drink watching Steamboat Willie, starts hearing demonic voices of an evil mouse voice, Mickey Mouse, and it possesses him. It's like,
Hey, you wanna fucking play a game, Bubba? You wanna play a game, Bubba? I want you to see what I see, and
he puts on the mask and becomes demonetized, demonic, possessed. And then the movie starts to pick off as a typical slasher. They're drinking, having fun. There's social dynamics where the nerd doesn't like this person and that person don't like this person, and he loves her, but she loves this guy right here, and she loves somebody else. Like, pretty much wedding singer stuff. One thing I will say that's not too bad for me is I really do like the dynamic of the characters. At first it starts off awkward and annoying, but I feel like they genuinely built up a few characters in this movie that you kind of were rooting for. You like, I really want them to survive. Yeah, there's Alex, Jaina, Ryan, Marcus, Gemma, Paul, Danny, a few others, and Marcus, the nerdy one, is the one that pretty much set up this party because he has a crush on Alex, and so doesn't the jock. The nerdy guy and the jock are kind of beefing it out, and the jock's like, I'm never gonna lose to this nerd, so he calls up a bunch of his hockey buddies. He's like, yo, kick his ass. It's like, dude, just kick his ass yourself. You have to have your whole entire hockey team come fight one nerdy, malnourished, scrawny dude? You suck. And then as they come to infiltrate and pick on Marcus, they get picked off by Mickey Mouse. And the whole movie is set in this arcade. There are, they spend some time in a laser tag and think in a slide where two people are banging. Again, there's banging in this movie because every time someone splits up to go to take a piss or to make out with their girlfriend, killers don't like that shit. They don't like peeing and they don't like banging. That's just what I'm getting from a horror movie. And this movie is genuinely fully structured as a slasher film through and through. When I was watching it, it wasn't a bad movie. I had a good enough time. If it's something that you want to watch, especially in October, if you want to watch a slasher and have fun and just get brain rotted from scares, because we know nowadays that movies are so structured and deliberately marketed and made that they're taglined as scary even though they're not. It wasn't awful, but it was just so predictable. I didn't even write the script, and you could pinpoint every little thing that's gonna happen. And even that back and forth dynamic with the girl, I think her name was Rebecca, getting interrogated by the police, it was just so miserable to watch because they kept contradicting what they were saying. They start off the movie saying, well, if it isn't the sole survivor, then later on she's like, some of your friends are alive at the hospital and they're not talking to us. It's like, ask Akon and Young Jeezy, that ain't what a sole survivor is. I'm sorry, I'm just telling you. And Rebecca, she's just being a stubborn little prick. I'm telling you everything, and if you want to stop acting immature, maybe we can get through this story, only to be like, it was a teleporting mouse. Because apparently, and this is the part that kind of frustrated me the most, is that Mickey Mouse, possessed man playing Mickey Mouse, could teleport, but there was a way to stop him, and I bet you're thinking it's rational. I mean, it's a possessed man teleporting, so I'm going to tell you, right out of the gates, it's not. It's a flashlight. When you click it back and forth, it strobes. It seizes him up pretty much. It traps him in a mouse trap, get it? And the teenagers pick up on this instantly. They're like, I don't know if they're teenagers or young adults, whatever, but they're like, dude, I hate when movies narrate stuff for you. They're like, oh my goodness, if you hit a flashlight in his face a bunch of times like a strobe light, it traps him and makes him not be able to move. It's like, all right, nice plot device there. viewer discretion advised. Like, if you have sensitivity to lights, I almost seized up watching this movie, and I don't have any issues with lights like that, so be careful watching it towards some parts, because they don't even warn you. Put a warning. You can put this whole disclaimer, fucking stupid ass Star Wars thing, telling how like you're ripping off Mickey Mouse and Star Wars and all these things, but you can't say, hey, watch out for the strobe lights. You're insensitive. And then they even say this line in the movie, which is I'm famously known for saying. They all get picked off one by one, and they think they figure out how to stop the mouse until the movie hits a final climax where, spoiler alert, they're all standing there and Alex is like, he's not coming back ever. And they're like, yeah, we defeated him. And then she gets with, I'm not even saying like the worst CGI I've ever seen, but the worst CGI I have ever seen. It didn't even look like CGI. It looked like it came from a screenshot from like Roblox or Minecraft. She gets her head chopped off. And then the movie, literally, the three survivors, the jock, the nerd, and the one promiscuous chick, it's supposed to drop your jaw with her getting attacked because she was the main protagonist, but it literally ends with him going,
They already gotta ask her, oh, this sucks.
and the nerd's like, what a cool, and then the movie just ends. I'm telling you the truth. Final thoughts, what did I think about this movie? Like I said, it wasn't awful if you're just looking for a movie to just watch with friends and have a good time and just laugh and barely pay attention to. It's not bad. Like I said, some of the acting is good. They really tried structurally creating character development, which I really like. Even though it's a very generic plot, I feel like they really did try with the characters. It seems fleshed out enough. None of the kills were good whatsoever. Mickey Mouse was like, again, the boss was like this chubby dude wearing a Mickey Mouse mask, so if you're into that, OnlyFans, but it's me dressed up as Mickey Mouse. But there's nothing bad to say, but there's nothing good to say about it. It was just a middle of the road movie, so that's good for me. I'm proud of myself that I didn't belligerently roast this movie. But yeah. Alright guys, that's the video. Subscribe, give me a thumber, hit that ding-a-ling button harassing you, telling you, hey, it's me, I'm here, and I'm gonna say it one time for the one time and two times for the O's. Give me a hell yeah for horror. And if they ever make a sequel about Minnie Mouse, she better be bad.